Hey everyone, Clawland here, and you're watching another episode of Left Hand Reviews. Today we're going to take a look at Ed Marriott's Scoville. Scoville was released in 2015 by TMG. It plays in about 60 to 90 minutes, 2 to 6 players, and recommended ages 13 and up. I had the opportunity to play Scoville back in when they released it back in Gen Con a couple years ago, and finally got my hands on a copy of it. And I think this is the perfect time to take a look at this game, as the new expansion should be out any day now. So let me show you how to play Scoville, a game where you are farming peppers, and tell you what I think about it, and see if this is something you should pick up in anticipation of the new Scoville Labs expansion. What we see here is a typical 2-player setup for Scoville. The setup, depending on the number of players, doesn't differ all that much. Everybody's going to start with $10, their little meeple, farmer meeple guy, 3 primary colored peppers, blue, red, and yellow, and 3 starting bonus tiles. And in the game board, you're going to start with 2 randomly selected of the primary colors. The only thing that's really going to change is the number of bonus tiles down here will depend on the number of players, as well as the number of market tiles here and the number of recipes over here. But it's printed right on the board. It's easy to tell real quick how many you need. So on the first turn, play order is determined randomly, and players are going to place their tokens here to indicate player 1 and player 2. The game is going to go through 3 different phases: planting, harvesting, fulfillment. You'll notice the arrows here indicate the turn order, the player order in which that phase occurs in. So think of Power Grid, how different phases happen in player order and reverse player order. Also, players are going to have this really well done cheat sheet. Explains exactly how each phase goes, as well as a pepper almanac on the back, or pepper husbandry, that shows you how different peppers mix together when you are harvesting them. So essentially how this game is going to work is you're going to start off with an auction phase where players are essentially going to be bidding for turn order, as well as for these auction cards up here, which provide a pepper. Then we're going to start planting peppers in the field. Then we're going to start harvesting our peppers. And the reason we need to harvest them is so we can fulfill the requirements of the market, as well as compete in the pepper cook-off here with the various recipes. And finally, we're going to check the time, because the game is played over one day, in a morning and an afternoon. And after the morning is finished, we're going to switch to our afternoon inventory here and here, and then finally the game will come to an end at the end of the afternoon. So let's start off with the first round. So what's going to happen is we're going to start off with the auction phase. Now, in the first phase of the game, the auction, the player order has been randomly determined, so you kind of skip this phase. But what would happen normally is players are going to take some money from behind their screen, do a blind bid, everybody reveals, and the highest will select first. So they will select, say I won the bid, I'm going to put my money in the bank, and I'm going to say, well, I want to go first. Then the next highest chooses, they will go second. Then I'm going to, in the winning order, you're going to take your card here. So I'm going to say, oh, I want this guy. I'll just throw it in a discard. So I'm going to take a purple pepper from the stock, put it behind my player screen. And then the other player, obviously in this case, is going to get the remaining red one. So they're going to take a red pepper from the stock and place it behind their player screen. Next, we're going to move to the planting phase. Each player has to plant exactly one pepper. So they're going to grab a pepper from behind their screen and put it anywhere in the fields orthogonally adjacent to an existing pepper. Now, you do have a special tile, one of your 3 bonus tiles, that says plant 1 extra pepper. This will allow you to plant a second one. So let's say it's my turn. I'm deciding I'm going to plant a purple pepper. So I take the purple pepper from behind my screen and I'm going to place it right here. I could put it in any of these spaces around the existing peppers. Now it's my opponent's turn. Now they're going to plant a pepper, and just so I don't have to reach over there, let's pretend that they're going to plant their blue pepper, and they're going to plant it right here. Alright, so we've done the planting phase. Now we're going to move to the harvesting phase. Now that's done in reverse player order, as you can see here. So the green player is going to start by placing their farmer onto the board, and on the first turn they're going to be placed on the star space in the center, and they're going to move up to 3 spaces. You can move 0, 1, 2, or 3 spaces, and every time you move to a space in between 2 peppers along these kind of diamond dots, you're going to harvest peppers. So this player might say, I'm going to move 1. They're between a blue and a yellow. Now if you remember your primary colors in art class, you can see that a blue and a yellow make a green pepper, so they're going to immediately collect a green pepper, put it behind their screen, and say they want to go move number 2 and move number 3. They're just going to kind of get themselves set up for the next round. Now would be the purple player's turn. I'm going to start here. 1 or 0, 1. That's a purple and a blue. If we look at the back here, a purple and a blue is going to make a brown. So I collect a brown pepper, put it behind my screen, and 2, and I'm just going to actually stop right there. Now it's important to know that while you're moving, you can't double back. So once you start moving forward, you can't turn around and go back the other way, except one of your bonus tiles, again, is a double back once. So you can turn around once. And then finally, the third bonus tile is move 1 extra step, so you can move up to 4 steps. Now the reason you may not want to use these is at the end of the game, they are worth 4 points each. Anytime you see that flame symbol, that indicates the victory points. So the next phase that we're going to move into is fulfillment. You can see fulfillment is done in player order. So each player has the opportunity to do 3 different fulfillment actions, and they can do each one once. The first opportunity they have is the market. So the market here is going to have several cards that indicate what people in the town need or want. So for example, this one is saying they want a red pepper and a purple pepper, and if you supply that, you're going to get a brown pepper, $3, and 1 point in return. Now over here we have the recipes. Now the recipes are a little bit tougher to get because they require you to get several peppers, but if you satisfy, say, these big recipes, they're worth big points. So this one here, Appalachian Joe's Rustic Heat, requires 5 brown peppers, but it does give you 15 points. You can only satisfy or collect 1 of those recipes per turn, in the same way that you can only collect 1 market tile per turn. And finally, you can sell peppers. You can sell as many peppers as you want of one and only one color from behind your screen. The value of those peppers is the total number that are planted in the field divided by 2. So in this case, the peppers are essentially worthless. But let's say later in the game, if there was another yellow out here, each yellow pepper would be worth 1, and let's say I had 2 or 3 behind my screen. Let's say I sold 3 of them. I could turn those into the supply and collect $3. So what I forgot to do is after the auction phase, I should have refilled this. So I'm going to refill 1 for each player. So that way players kind of have an idea of what they're going to be auctioning for next round, and maybe decide if they want to hold back on doing some market or selling, or maybe they do want to sell to make sure they have enough money to win the auction. Finally, the last thing you do on a turn is a time check. This is to determine if you're going to be moving from the morning to the afternoon phase. What you're going to do, basically see if there are fewer recipe cards or market cards than there are players, and if so, you're going to move on to the afternoon phase, which basically just means from now on you're going to be using the afternoon auction cards as well as the afternoon market cards. But you're not going to refill the recipe cards there. They're going to stay like that for the entire game. So now, let's say it's the next round. We'll do one more quick round. Everybody's going to collect money for a blind bid from behind their player screen. Remember, you can pay 0 if you want. And everybody's going to bid. Now, one thing I didn't mention is we do have these bonus tiles here. You're going to collect these when you plant one of the matching peppers. Now, what I did actually earlier in the turn was I planted a purple pepper that I had collected earlier. And as you can see, one of these bonus plaques here does show a purple pepper on it, so I would have actually collected this at that time. So I'm going to put it behind my player screen. You also get one for brown, white, black, and the clear phantom pepper. So now in the next round, let's bid. Let's say I win the bid with 1 because green bid nothing. So I'm going to pay that to the bank. And I'm going to say, I'm actually going to go second this time. And so green's going to go first. So I'm going to show that here. Then we're going to collect our cards. So let's say I ended up taking a yellow, and my opponent took a yellow and a blue. Put that behind their player screen. Now we move on to the planting phase. Again, planting goes in player order, so green would go first. I'm going to pretend that green is reaching behind their screen to put a blue out. They're going to put it right here. And now I'm going to plant, say, my brown one. And I'm going to put it right here. And because I'm planting a brown pepper, I can collect this brown bonus plaque here. Then we move on to harvesting, starting in reverse player order, so that's me. I'm going to move here, 1, that gives me a brown. 2, let's see, a brown and a green is going to get me nothing. I mean, a brown and a yellow, rather, will get me nothing. And then I'm just going to move right here, my 3rd, just to be ready for the next round. And then the next player is going to move 1 and collect 2 blues, because I know that's what happens when you mix those. And they're going to move here, collect a green, and move here and collect a brown. That was a very productive turn. As you can see, for green, they collected lots of different things. And then finally we're going to move on to fulfillment. In player order, green is going to choose to cash in a yellow and a blue in order to take a green and 1 point. So we give them a green. And they're also going to look over here at the recipe card, decide, nah, they're not going to fulfill any recipes just yet, and they're not going to sell anything. They could sell blue for 1 point each. That'd be 3 divided by 2 is 1.5, rounded down is 1. But they choose to hold on to their blues for now. My turn, I have 2 yellows, so I'm going to cash those in for this yellow guy here. That's going to give me a brown and $2. So I take a brown and $2 from the supply, and I am secretly working on that all brown recipe. Over here it requires 5 browns. I already have 2, so I'm not going to cash anything in just yet. And then finally we do a time check. We haven't satisfied the criteria to move to the afternoon phase, so we're just going to continue playing for another morning round. And again, I should have refilled this earlier. And here we are, ready for the next round. And that's all there is to Scoville. So that's all there is to a game of Scoville. It's very, very straightforward, and that's one of the things that this game really has going for it. The components are extremely, extremely well done. The board is easy to put together. It lays pretty flat because it's not a folding board. The cutouts for the peppers are okay. Some of them are a little snug, and I think that has to do with just the variation of cutting those peppers when they're manufactured, but not a problem at all. The fact that the game is quick and easy to learn is a great benefit, because I think this game is definitely on the lighter side. It is definitely what I would classify as a good gateway game. It's also a game that I think would work really well with your children and younger children that are starting to grasp math and colors. You could even skip the auction phase and just say each round the player order changes and each player gets to pick their market card, just to get rid of that complication for a younger audience. And kids are going to have a great time playing this, moving around, looking at their pepper matrix and seeing what mixes with what. They, of course, are maybe not going to make the most strategically great decisions, but they're still going to have a lot of fun playing, and they're going to be able to see those recipes. They know, okay, I'm trying to build for this, so I need to plant this here, move this here to gain this color so that I can satisfy this recipe. The colors are bright and fun, It's really, the graphic design I really enjoy. So overall, Scoville is a great medium light family style Euro. It's a great gateway game, I think, because of that, and I think it's a great addition to a collection that likes those sorts of games. Now, me personally, I'm more of a gamer's gamer, so I like the more number crunchy and heavy Euros, and this is a little light for me, so it's not something I'm necessarily going to take out a lot. But again, I'm going to take it out if I need a good gateway game with family that doesn't really play games, or if I have some cousins or nieces or nephews over that are younger. This is going to be a perfect game for that. So that's really all I have to say about Scoville. Now, what I'm looking forward to is seeing the new Scoville Labs expansion that may add a little bit more meatiness to this game. But as it stands right now, it's very well done, and it's perfect for that niche of lighter family or gateway. So if you like what you saw here, it's a worthwhile investment. Again, components are great, art is great, all those pepper meeples are awesome, and I didn't really mention it, but in addition to being various colors, they also have different heights, and the taller the pepper, the more rare it is, and in turn that generally means the tougher it is to breed it, and the more points it's worth in the recipes or at the market. So that's really cool too. You can kind of see how they increase in size, with the primary color ones being the smallest, and of course that phantom pepper being the biggest. So pretty neat stuff. So again, Scoville, definitely an A+ from me. It's a great game, and I appreciate you learning how to play Scoville and watching Left Hand Reviews, and I'll see you next time.